I'm here with Sonic again.
Greeting, my fellow enthusiasts. My name is Sonic. I'm the owner of Sonic Motorsports, located in Savannah, Georgia. And I started from enthusiast myself as well, and always start with Miata and work all the way up. So now it's 12 years running my shop, doing development work for a lot of professional racing teams. Yeah, so it's very good to see you guys again.
Again.
Yeah.
Again.
And you as well.
Yeah, thank you for your time again.
Absolutely.
And so we're going to make this podcast really short today since I know you're busy. And during racing season, I know you're always busy.
Just starts. Yeah.
So, and the reason why I picked Sonic for this interview, I gathered all these questions from the last podcast that we did.
Yes.
So it's more on aerodynamics.
I see. So your question is about aerodynamics, and it's a general topic, and it can go really, really deep. Are you familiar with the Bernoulli equation?
Yes, I am.
Yes, very good, very good. So there's no black magic in car tuning or racing industry whatsoever. It's all about science and physics or math, everything,
right,
or chemistry. So if we understand the concept and what's the fundamental of the concept, and then it will be much easier to understand. But I won't go too deep today, since our topic is mainly for entry level.
Yeah, it's more on people when they buy, should I buy this for aerodynamics? Should I buy this for attacking corners? Would
Correct.
This part help?
Gotcha, I understand. So, are we talking about the group of people who is using the car as a daily drive and occasionally do track days?
Yes.
So it's not a full-blown track car.
It's not a full-blown track car yet.
My honest opinion is on street vehicles. It's mainly for aggressive looking instead of functioning.
Right.
And that actually leads to most of the aero parts, if depends on the price range on the markets that you can get, are not really built to withstand such a level of aero forces.
Okay.
For instance, we see a lot of cars that install the splitters in the front, right? And I believe you guys seen a lot of people testing, and they're just jumping on the race car splitters, and that thing just not moving, and the entire race car's jumping up and down. And most of the aftermarket one for street vehicles, they're basically just a single sheet, right? Either a composite material or sometimes it's just a wood board, which it does its job, but it's not really designed to take a certain level of the aero load as well as the impact, if possible. So, plus, for entry-level motorsport enthusiasts, and I would really suggest more to focus on the mechanical grip perspective instead of to start involving aerodynamics, because all we're looking for is a higher grip level.
Right.
Right. People will say, we see drift cars as wins a lot of things as well, aero devices. Yes, but get down to the purpose is two things. One is we're trying to get more grip.
Right.
Overall, two is we're trying to get the different aero balance to alter the grip level front and back or left and right at different dynamic running conditions. So, in fact, for most of the racing schools, they introduce. You see, no racing schools they start grown up to give you aerodynamic the race cars.
Right.
They start from like a Formula Ford or some very entry-level race cars that does not have any aero-related stuff.
Okay.
For a reason, because they want you to understand what is the mechanical grip and the car's mechanical characteristics without any aero in there.
Yeah.
The reason for that is the aero. We know you're familiar with Bernoulli equation, the velocity is a big part of how much aero effect it will have, all these aero components. So the aero components will not have any effect if we're running slow, right?
Right.
I know that's sad but true, but
Yeah, it makes sense.
Right. So if you are just trying to put a big wing, say only a wing at the back of the car, and you just give it a very big angle of attack, and you generate a lot of downforce. Well, most of the time it's a drag, but downforce, say.
Yeah.
And under very long straightaways, you travel straightaways. If you take a shot from the side, likely you are having a wrong aero balance, and your car started getting too much downforce at the back, because the balance been, disturbed, and you don't have enough aero devices to compensate that to the front. And it's all about balance. And, so that's the reason that I would say most of the time for street cars, if it's an entry level, first time going to the track days, it is really, I would actually really recommend to disable all these aero devices, so you get to know your car, what's the original characteristic of the handling.
Thank you for explaining that, because most of my customers are pretty much, let's make our car beautiful before going to suspension.
Absolutely.
And I asked you
I was there, myself,
And I asked you that on our last podcast. I'm like, is suspension the very important one before going aero or before going fast? And now you answer that completely, which is I'm really grateful. There's this specific question that they want me to ask you.
Sure.
So mostly my guys or the people that I know that I'm close with, they're military, right now they're deployed, and right now they want me to help them build their cars. And I told them, invest a lot, not spend. I always say that, because spending, you could just buy an 800 coilovers, right? Compared to whatever, 5,000, 6,000. But
right.
But again, like, if you don't have everything, then it'll be not useless, but it'd be more useful if you complete your suspension.
I would say aero will be a very later part.
Yeah.
And for all the suspension parts, that it's all depends on what's the majority of working condition the owner is actually occupying the vehicles for. If you are trying to have a smoother ride and a daily drive every day, I understand when people are young. I was there myself, and you don't mind just that hardcore and bumpy ride, and sometimes a very stiff springs and a very high shock load, But is that efficient? That's not really efficient. Most of the time, there will be sometime halfway. You're trying to do two things together. You end up with none of the things were being done correct, right? So coilovers. Let's make it straight. If you just simply wanted the car to be low, aesthetic-wise, and
by all means,
then you're fine.
Yeah.
Then you're fine. But you need to be able to, if you want to have the same setup goes on the track, you need to understand what's the spring rate, what's the total vehicle mass, what is.
When I explain that to people, they're like, you're just taking money off of me. And
no, it's not that. I mean, it's no hurt to only put a set of coilover on that. I mean, everything has a beginning, But my first step will be always the tire, because that's where all the load actually transferred to the ground, the contacting patch, right? So on top of that, maybe the brakes, and make sure that you can stop.
Yeah.
And then, because somehow the factory suspension system are designed to accommodate most of the area the owner might go into occupy, like including some level of performance driving. So it will give you more, it was tuned to be more safety in mind to a point. So if you just slam a set of coilover on that, you drop the car down. So as you explained, the center, the roll center will change, and so basically the front and rear roll rate will change, and your shock, because most of them have the adjustable shock damping force, right? So how are you going to adjust that if you don't understand what's the purpose of that? Plus, most of the entry-level shock, they only have one adjustment. So basically, there's no high speed, low speed separate for compression and rebound. So it's basically generally for adjusting the rebound, low speed. And it's something like Ohlins is a difference. They're dual valve technology. I think there's a term, and that's different because they have everything, the high speed already preset from factory based on the vehicle's specification. And then you can adjust the low speed rebound and some level of the compression based on how aggressive you want to take the corner and in combination with other stuff. So I would suggest from the tire first and then brake, and then suspension. If you go with suspension, I will highly recommend to start from the spring. If you want to directly jump to the coilovers, spring and shock combination, and what's the concept behind it, and what does it do, and by changing different setups, how will that affect your vehicle?
Right.
And then after that, you will start correcting suspension geometries based on the ride height change. Because once you drop that ride height, your camber will be different, your toe will be different, your roll center will be different, and some of them can be adjusted, some of them cannot be adjusted. Like sometimes you need adjustable toe link or adjustable upper control arm in order to restore the proper toe and proper camber you're trying to achieve. And of course, the roll center adjusters that will need to be restored, and or if you understand the theory completely, you can custom make those based on your own setup. But I think that's going to be a little step away from the entry level.
I'm sorry to disappoint the audience, but the aerodynamics is for later. I keep saying the suspension is very important before going to that. As he explained from the last podcast, he brought a random car and he's about to critique it, and we might have flames after this and burn the car. So we'll go outside and do that.
Do that.